This is the Passover story, very condensed. For a more thorough version of this story, you can watch Prince of Egypt or the Ten Commandments, or you could read the book of Exodus if you are old school. Moses was born to an Israelite mother living in Egypt, but he grew up in Pharaoh's household, a ward of Pharaoh's sister. The Israelites were oppressed by Pharaoh and forced into backbreaking labor. Moses killed an Egyptian. He's an adult by this point. Moses killed an Egyptian, an abusive overseer who was attacking an Israelite. Afraid that Pharaoh would retaliate by killing him, he ran away to the land of Midian. Moses married the daughter of a Midianite priest and had a son with him. Time passed, Pharaoh died, and his son took the throne. The Israelites cried out to their God, who had promised to be faithful to their forebears Abraham, Sarah, Isaac, Rebekah, Jacob, Leah, and Rachel. While Moses was keeping his father-in-law's flock in Midian, he saw a bush that was on fire but did not burn up. God called his name from the bush and told him that God would save the Israelites, would remove them from Egypt to a land flowing with milk and honey. And it was Moses' job to tell Pharaoh for God, let my people go. And it was Moses' job to tell the Israelites that God, whose name was I Am, would deliver them. Moses had a speech disorder, but God said that his brother Aaron would speak for him. Moses returned to Egypt with his wife and children and performed wonders to earn the trust of the Israelites. Aaron spoke the words that Moses had received from God. The Israelites believed. Moses and Aaron then went to Pharaoh and said, let my people go. Pharaoh refused because he didn't know God. Moses and Aaron said, let my people go or there will be plagues. No. And then Pharaoh made the Israelites labor harder. The Israelites got mad at Moses then, but God told Moses to go back to Pharaoh. Let my people go. No, God turned the Nile and all the water in Egypt to blood for 7 days. Moses goes back to Pharaoh. Let my people go. No, God made the land swarm with frogs, gnats, flies. Okay, you can go. But when the flies disappeared, Pharaoh changed his mind again. All the Egyptian livestock died, but the livestock belonging to the Israelites was fine. People and animals were covered with boils. Thunder, hail, and fire fall from the skies. Okay, you can go. But Pharaoh changed his mind again. Locusts swarmed over the land, eating all the crops. Okay, you can go. But Pharaoh changed his mind when the locusts disappeared. 3 days of darkness. Okay, you can go. But Pharaoh changed his mind again. God warned Moses that the 10th plague would be the worst, the death of every firstborn, human and animal. But God would protect the Israelites who kill a lamb and spread its blood on the doorposts and lintel. They were to stay inside until morning. God killed every firstborn, human and animal, except for those who had done what Moses told them to do. And ever after, their descendants keep this festival, eating unleavened bread, remembering that God's plague passed over them. Then the Israelites left, following pillars of cloud and fire that led the way to freedom. Pharaoh decided to pursue the Israelites, cornered them at the edge of the sea, but God divided the water for them to cross the sea on dry land. The Egyptians pursued, but the waters closed in and they drowned. And God provided for God's people in the wilderness with manna to eat, water to drink, and Torah to guide them. Like I said, that was a very condensed version of the Passover story. It loses all of the poetry and most of the characters. I especially miss Miriam, the older sister of Moses, who strategically leaves Moses in the river for Pharaoh's sister to find, who arranges that her mother, Moses's mother, can continue to nurse him even though he's been adopted into the royal household. Miriam, who dances and sings after the defeat of the Egyptians. The text calls her a prophet. I miss the deep awe of Moses encountering the burning bush and the emotions of the Israelites and Egyptians trying to process the plagues. It also doesn't contain the tradition that the sea didn't part right away. It's not in the Bible, but it's beloved commentary that the sea did not part at Moses' command, would not part until the first Israelite tried to step into it. How far are you willing to go for liberation? The Israelites' exodus from Egypt has inspired people who would be free for thousands of years. It's no surprise that Africans enslaved in the Americas looked to this story and found themselves in it, found the kind of God they needed. If God had done it once, maybe God would do it again. They sang songs about Moses that we know to this day, some of the most famous spirituals, cherished by all people who love freedom. In fact, enslavers tried to keep the book of Exodus out of the hands of those they enslaved. The slave Bible printed in Britain for the West Indies omitted 90% of the Hebrew scriptures. No Exodus, no prophecy, no hope in this life, only in heaven. The plagues are still with us. COVID, white supremacy, greed, exploitation, misogyny, ableism, many more than 10. But we want to live in a world where everyone is free, where no one is oppressed. If my freedom comes at the expense of another, that's oppression, not liberation. We could not inventory, or no, we could inventory the ways each of us is oppressed and oppressor. We will have to leave behind so much to make it to the other side. Take only what you can carry. The thing we won't have to leave behind is relationship with the people who journey alongside us. The stories we hold in our hearts. And when you find yourself at the water's edge with nowhere to go but the promised land, may you take the first step.